Tucker Carlson about to unleash on Fox News? Well, Axios is reporting he might be. He's currently locked into his Fox News contract into January of 2025, which of course is after the election, and apparently is threatening to tell where the bodies are buried in an effort to get out of his contract. Now, there's been some speculation that he could hang up his own shingle, as it were, do his own subscription service. There has been rumors that he's spoken to Elon Musk about doing something with him. There's rumors that he could take his talents to Rumble or Newsmax, a competitor's show. What do you make of this story?
So this was interesting. This is according to Axios. Apparently, and Axios is suggesting that Tucker was sort of holding his friends at bay, saying don't go scorched earth against Fox yet. And the reporting here is that he's now given the go-ahead. Mm-hmm. He wants his friends to really make Fox hurt for the position it's taking. Tucker, I think, wants his freedom, his payment, and his freedom. I mean, I gather he could, walk away and not get paid the rest of his contract. He can do whatever he wants. If I'm reading this reporting correctly, he wants the $20 million or $30 million that he's owed up through the end of the contract, plus the ability to go to a Rumble or a Newsmax, or, the world's his oyster. He could rejoin the Daily Caller, which he co-founded. Mm-hmm. He could go to the Daily Wire, which is probably maybe one of the next biggest conservative media organizations after Fox itself. Glenn Beck said he'd love to have him at the Blaze. He could, pull a Joe Rogan, just do his own thing on Spotify or somewhere. He could create a wholly new channel or a new site or a new whatever. He's a very smart writer, in addition to being obviously known to most people as a TV commentator. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, and obviously Fox has had a viewership hit mm-hmm. in his time slot, and I think down the line, viewers are not happy so far about this exit. Fox is getting a lot of criticism they got criticism from Trump, from other conservatives. Megyn Kelly has been really laying into Fox for doing this. She's someone who parted ways with Fox on not great terms, and she's also very friendly with Tucker. So she has been, taking his side very much in this whole dispute, and other people. So it's interesting to see what she was saying on the show the other day. She's saying that Fox is counting on, when Ron DeSantis declares or there's a big national news event. Are people really going to not watch? No, they're going to turn on and they're not going to watch Newsmax. They're going to watch Fox. Mm-hmm. And over time, it will rebound. So if you want to have a splash, you have to not do that, is what she was saying. Yeah,
that feels right to me.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
I think you don't have to be downplaying the influence that Tucker Carlson had on Fox News, or the strength of his audience, or the willingness of much of his audience to follow him to a new program, to think that Fox News, which is still the most popular news channel in America, is suddenly going to go kaput, or that people aren't tuning in for a more holistic coverage of average day's events, not just the kind of pundit-style opinion work that Tucker is known for. And I do think also, we've seen these shifts before. It's not that Fox isn't taking a hit and won't take a hit, but the expectation that they're not going to recover significantly over the course of an election cycle, which is really the bread and butter for these shows, I think is a little bit naive. That being said, it will be interesting to see what damage Tucker's allies can do to Fox News in the interim. And I'm also a little bit curious about the posture of this from a financial perspective, because there's an argument that says if the reason that Tucker Carlson is saying let loose on Fox is because he wants to both be paid to the end of his contract and have the freedom to start something new, is there something a little off about that? We're speaking to all of the popularity he has, his ability to hang up his own shingle, how there's probably going to be a bidding war to get his attention. He can obviously make more money, and he obviously has a great deal of money if it really is that important for him to offer his commentary through the election cycle, which from his perspective,
maybe it's not even a dispute over the money, but he just can't be let out of his contract because he has a non-compete clause that he agreed to with them. Yeah, but what are the
consequences of it? I don't know.
They sue him? I don't know.
Right. So it ultimately comes down to a money game. So it's not that I'm saying he should be cavalier about whatever financial penalty should come his way. I'm not trying to count somebody else's money. But it is an interesting dynamic wherein he has the capacity to earn a great deal more, potentially. And if his allies really do value his ability to swing the political needle in their favor. There's a world where even if he were to lose a certain kind of a litigation battle with Fox News, or even if he were in violation of his contract terms, it could ultimately behoove him to go ahead and say, I'm going to do this on my own. Obviously, I see him wanting to hash it out legally in the first instance, but I could also see him doing a kind of a dirty break. Can't keep baby in the corner style, you know?
Yeah, he clearly does not want to be benched, and I understand why. He's a gifted political commentator. He does not want to be benched for the upcoming election. One of his allies who is calling actually for a boycott of Fox News is Brett Favre, famous football player. Brett Favre shared the Megyn Kelly clip I was alluding to, saying that I'm with Tucker, time to boycott Fox until they come to their senses and let the man speak.
Yeah, it seems like you're asking for a lot. Boycotts are tough. They have to be organized, and it's not clear.
But conservatives inflicted some pain on Budweiser, didn't they?
Everybody bounces back.
Yeah.
Everybody bounces back. The world is too big. I mean, this is I think the problem with a lot of the commentary, both in the Budweiser situation and across the board. Advertisers, corporations are following the bottom line. As much as there's this characterization from conservatives right now about how, you know, they're chasing wokeness because they have a genuine ideological commitment to wokeness. I think what companies like Budweiser are doing is saying there's a section of the population who is galvanized by trans positive issues. There's a section of the population that's galvanized by guns. There's a section of the population that's galvanized by Clydesdales going through the Berkshires in the wintertime. I mean, that's what we see in all of these kinds of commercials, because they understand that it's not just one big holistic country. And so they're willing to hedge their bets and reach out to different parts of the market. And sometimes you have hits and misses, but it's not this big ideological project. So ultimately, we'll see what the advertisers do,
I think
the people go.
I think big corporations generally, yes, are trying to put profits first and make more money. It's not really ideological on their part. But they can they can just make bad bets.
Sure.
They can overestimate the market for a certain kind of advertising campaign or a certain kind of rebranding. They could think because of elite discourse that more people like a thing than actually do, and could be led down a path. I think that's probably the smarter criticism of like wokeness's influence on corporations. Right? It's not that they are like, we just got to force wokeness on everyone. Doesn't matter how much money we lose, do wokeness. No, that's not how they're thinking. But they might think that it's more popular than it is based on, you know, what elite discourse in the New York Times and on Twitter has to say.
Yeah, I mean, Budweiser's real misstep was not hiring Caitlyn Jenner to be their advocate. Of course, you know, if you think back to that story from a couple of weeks ago, one of the ironies was that one of the alternative alcohol companies that was being promoted instead of Bud Light had previously had Caitlyn Jenner as one of their spokespeople. So again, it doesn't feel as much like it's about, from the conservative side, are we really against the existence of trans people or trans people in this kind of a marketing role, as much as the presumed politics of someone like Dylan Mulvaney versus someone like Caitlyn Jenner?
Someone was telling me, I don't know if it was someone in my family, I can't remember who this was, but recently I had a conversation with someone who said that they were driving, middle of nowhere in the country, stopped at a gas station, asked the attendant there, like it's a place you can buy liquor, alcohol too, asked if people were like, was there a change in people buying Budweiser? And the person said, yeah, he has not sold a single case of Bud since the ad.
It does
it's just
happen.
Sitting there collecting dust.
It's making me think of how some of these reputational dents never go away. Back in the 90s, I think, I believe it was Tommy Hilfiger who said something about how he didn't make his clothes for black people. They had become very popular in the hip hop community. And I guess he was concerned about how it was going to affect his brand perception. And to this, like, for years, to this day, people will say things about, like, oh, I'm not wearing those clothes. Like, a racist makes those clothes and things like that. So, you know, sometimes these controversies do have a long tail on them. With respect to the Tucker Carlson, it does seem obvious that he's not going to wait to 2025 to say something.
I don't think so.
That video that he put out a couple of weeks ago was cryptic enough to suggest that something 100% is coming down the pipeline. The only question is when and what is going on behind the scenes to try to negotiate an early release for him.
Indeed. All right, well, we'll have more Rising right after this. Stay with us.